Maya Keller and I'm a digital artist from Mexico. On this tutorial, I'll teach you how to create an illustration in Adobe Illustrator and then take it into After Effects to make an animation. So we're going to begin by creating a document that is 800 by 600. You can see that I just created mine here. And now on our Tools panel, I'm going to go here and find my Ellipse Tool. But you could use the shortcut L if you prefer. Just click on the screen and a window like this should appear. Here you can indicate the width and height, and if you click on this icon, both of them are going to be linked, so you can make a circle. So I'm going to make one that is 29 by 29, and I'm going to make one that is 21 by 21. Once I have these two, I'm going to go and select both of them. And then I'm using the latest version of Illustrator CC, but if you're using a previous version, all the windows that I have here, you can find them on Window. So here, I'm going to make sure that I'm aligning to selection, and I'm going to go horizontal and vertical align. So I get something like this. As I said, all these windows can be found here on Window, and everything that I use here on the right, you can find them there. So if I click on Align, I get the exact same options and tools that I get if I go into my Properties bar. Now I'm going to go to my pen tool and I'm going to create a point, then make another point around here in a diagonal line, but then I'm going to click and drag. So I get a shape that is pretty much like this. You can drag a little bit farther like this. And now that I have this, you're going to see that I have it with a fill. I'm just going to remove that. I only want a stroke. And now I'm going to select this. But first I'm going to refine this shape a little bit. Then I'm going to select this, go right click, transform, reflect. A window like this is going to appear. Here make sure that you're reflecting on a vertical axis and hit copy. Now while pressing shift, I'm going to move it to the right. And I'm going to select both of them, click again on one. You can see that now it's thicker. Now it's the key object. And I'm going to go here into the align and show options. And here on the distribute spacing, I have to make sure that it's 0. And then click on this icon. Now the space between both my objects is 0. I can select both anchor points and go here to anchors and just set connected selected endpoints. If you don't have those options on the right, maybe you have them on the top, so check there. And I'm going to do the same with the bottom. Just select both anchor points with my direct selection tool and then join them. The next thing I want to do is create a straight line. So I'm just going to my pen tool, press shift while creating the second point to make a straight line. Now selecting both of them, I'm going to go to my pathfinders. Again, you can find the pathfinder window on the window or on the right. And I'm going to use this divide option. Then I'm going to go right click to ungroup so I can move each individual piece. And the next thing I want to do is go to my pen tool. So I'm going to go and create a point there. While pressing shift, I'm going to create another point. And this third point, I'm going to create it, again, clicking and dragging to make a little curve. So just like this, and then I'm going to press shift to break the tangency and close this shape. I'm going to select the shape, go right click, transform, reflect, and make a copy on a vertical axis. And then again, pressing shift, I'm going to move it to the other side. Next, I'm going to go and find my rectangle by going to my rectangle tool. And I'm just going to click. And I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to click on here so each individual value is different. So I'm going to go to it 40 by 28. And then I'm going to select this with my direct selection tool, select one of the anchor points. And then you can go and press your right arrow on your keyboard. Let's do this 5 times. And let's do the same with the other anchor point, pressing your left arrow key 5 times. I can move this a little bit to the top. And there we have it, our rocket. The next thing I want to do is begin adding some colors. So I'm just going to remove the stroke and change the fill. I can use this solid color that I had selected in advance, but feel free to use your own colors. I want to add a little bit more of a shading to this, so I'm just going to use gradients To get this window, I just went to Window Gradient, and I just can simply apply it. Now I'm gonna click and drag, so I can drag the colors on this gradient and move them around this location. And if you use the gradient tool here on your tools panel, you can move this by making this bigger or rotating it in case you need it. You can go there to the right point to make a little rotation. This is exactly what I want. Now for this outer rim, I'm just going to use this color. I'm gonna add a gradient on this one. For this one, I'm going to add a gradient. I'm going to remove the stroke, and let's change the colors to something lighter. Now I'm assuming this is a cylinder, so what I can do is select this color, and while pressing the key Alt, I can click and drag while pressing Alt to make a copy on the other side of that same color. Now I'm just going to adjust the location a little bit, and I get a shape like this. Now I can go right click, arrange, send to back. Next, I'm gonna work on these two. So I'm just going to select them and apply this color. Make sure that I'm applying a gradient, not a single color, and then just drag and drop it. The colors that I'm going to be using on this. And now I need to move around the colors a little bit. I'm working on one on the wing, so I'm gonna work on the right one. And let's just move this a little bit here. Again, adjusting just the location. Then I'm gonna select this, use my eyedropper to have the exact same gradient. And now this one has to be on the opposite, so I just click here on this icon to reverse the gradient. Now I'm gonna select both of them, go right click, arrange, send to back. And I'm gonna apply the same gradient to this. But just as we did with our top shape, I'm going to change a little bit the gradient. So let's again press Alt while dragging this color to make it look more like a cylinder. So once I have adjusted the positions, the location a little bit, I'm going to select the exact same gradient for this. And there you go, we have a rocket. Now I can go to my type tool and type. I'm just going to type a letter R. And here you can select your font. One font that I recommend is that if you want to find fonts, you go to Google Fonts. And in there you can find different type of fonts. This Source Sans Pro is one that I want to use. So I'm just going to download it. And once you do that, you can go into Illustrator and just type in here the name of the font. You could also use any other font that you find that is good. I would only recommend you that you make one that it's bold and that has a lot of volume so that we can add the effect that I'm going to show you. So once I have it, I'm just going to go right click and create outlines so I can align it to the center. So just go here, align to arbroad and vertical and horizontal line. So now that we have this, I'm going to send the rocket to the back, sorry, the R to the back, and then move the rocket. Now I'm going to go here to layers, and here you can see that I actually had another layer, so I don't need that. All my objects are in this layer too, so I'm just going to create a new layer by clicking here, and I'm going to select the rocket, and you can see this little square. I just can click on that and drop it on the layer 3. And now the rocket, it's on layer 3 and the R is on its own layer. So I'm just going to rename this, call this mask, and let's call the other one rocket. And all I have to do is save this document as an Illustrator document. And now I'm ready to go into After Effects. So we're only going to open the After Effects. And here in Project, I'm going to double click and I'm going to go and find that rocket Illustrator file that I just created. This window is going to appear. Here, make sure that you select a composition and your footage dimensions are layer size. Now you cannot see anything here because the mask is on top, and it's black. So what we can do is go and create a new layer, new solid. And let's go and change the color of this solid to this blue maybe. And now if we drag it to the bottom, now you can see everything better. Now this is a little bit too light, so you can go layer, solid settings. And a window like this is going to appear. Here you can change the color of the solid, so I actually need something that is darker. Okay, so now I have that. The next thing that I want to do is go here into effects and presets, and let's go and find CC Starburst. If I apply to this blue layer, you can see that that's not looking anything like I want. So I'm just gonna delete it, and I'm gonna create a new solid. So go layer, new solid, and let's change the color to white on this one. And now just press OK, and to this one I'm going to apply the Starburst. Now this is starting to look something better. Now if I hit my preview, you can see how this is looking. And this is a nice effect when you are actually having a rocket, for example, pointing inwards. But for this, we don't need that. So what we're going to do is change some values here. So let's make the scatter bigger, so 360. And let's change the speed to 0. So now you can see that they don't move anymore. And now let's go here and change our grid spacing into 2. So I get more of these little dots. And now you can see that I have kind of like a start field. Okay, so once that I have my stars, what I'm going to do is go here into my project, and here you have a folder with solids, and let's drag a new white solid. This one is going to have a different effect, so I'm just going to go here into my effects, and I'm going to go and find CC Particle Systems 2. Just drag and drop it, and if I scroll to a preview, you can see that all the particles go around like crazy. So I'm going to change some values here as well. I'm going to change the birth rate to 5, and let's move here so you can see what the effect is happening here. Let's change the longevity to 0.5 so we don't get that many. Let's go into the producer, and here you can change the position. But here what I'm going to do is change the radius to 0 and 0. That way they're in a single point getting generated. Now let's go to physics, and instead of explosive, let's go to direction. So now you can see that they only go into a single direction. Let's change the velocity to 4. And you can see this is starting to look a little bit better. And now let's go into our gravity, and let's have no gravity at all. So it's going to be 0. And now for my direction, you can see that if I type in here 0, and here I go like, for example, 90, you're going to see how now it's pointing to the right. This is not what I want, but I will change it in a bit. For extra, again 0. And you're going to see, okay, nothing is happening anymore. But the reason for that is that my particle is aligned. So what I have to do is go into particle. So let's just open that one and change the particle to shaded sphere. Sorry, faded sphere. So now you can see that you can see again the particles there. That's exactly what I want. Let's change the bird size. I'm going to go and change it to 0.31. And the depth size, I'm going to change it to 0.41. So it's not going to be that huge of a difference. Now into my size variation, I'm going to increase this to 98. So it's a lot of variation. And I'm going to change these colors. So I'm going to go and select a white for the dead color, and for the bird, let's go with a light red, kind of a pinkish color. And now we have our effect. But now let's give it the proper direction, so it's going to be 180. And now you can see that if I preview, I see that as the smoke of the rocket. Now I could change the position to be here, where this is supposed to be coming from. And now we have it. Now I don't want this to start like with nothing. So what I can do is just simply select my particle layer, this white solid, and move it to the left once all the particles have been generated, and then just simply extend it. So now from 0 seconds, you can see all the smoke. Now I'm going to go to create a new null object, and this null object is going to be the one that's going to drive my animation. So I'm going to parent by clicking here on the parent to the null, my rocket, and my white solid number 1. This one, the one that has the particles on it. So now if I go and move my null object, you can see that everything is moving. And I'm gonna go here, make a keyframe, and change the position to be outside of my composition. Now I'm gonna go here and make sure that my project in the composition settings, you have a frame rate of 30. And the duration for now, it's going to be 95. I think that's okay. So I'm going to go into 30 to give it 1 second. And in 1 second, I'm going to move the position all the way out. So let's go and press N here to have a little preview. And if I preview it by pressing my spacebar, you can see it's a little bit fast. So maybe I can go and move this last anchor point to 45. Again, pressing N so I shrink my work area. I'm going to select both of them, and you can go and see that if I just press my letter, if I just press Control, you can see that the keyframes have changed to circles, and this is exactly what I want because I want the speed to be constant. So I'm just going to select everything but the mask, go right click, pre-compose. A window like this is going to appear. Here, make sure that you name it as you want and move all the attributes. So now the rocket is on a single composition. Now I'm going to go here to Alpha Track Matte and just select that mask on the top. So now you can see that the letter R that we created, it's being used as a mask. And now I can just simply drag another solid to the bottom so that this is there exactly as I want it. Now I'm thinking this is happening too fast, so let's extend this to 60, and when I do that, this changes. So again, press Control or Alt, and now this is actually faster. Sorry, this is actually slower, which is looking way better. So now you can see that how in very simple steps you have an animation that you can then export and make a GIF. So now let's just go File, Export, and let's go here and add to render queue. You could also use the shortcut Control M. Here, a format that I would recommend is QuickTime. And you could also use a Photoshop sequence if you prefer, or whatever works for you. Then in format options, I'm going to select animation. Let's go and find a place where to save this and just hit render. Now, if we go into Photoshop, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get a GIF. So what I'm going to go is go here into File, Import, Video Frames to Layers, and go and find that rocket movie that we just created into After Effects. This window is going to appear, just click OK, and now you get all these layers, which each one is one frame. Now I'm going to go File, Export, Save to for Web Legacy, or Ctrl-Alt-Shift-S. And here I can go and select GIF. 128 probably works. And you can click in here forever and just hit play. And with this you get a GIF. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.